Hey everybody, welcome back to Peachy Disc Golf. Today I am here at Chattahoochee Pointe Park in order to play a little 9-hole challenge using this bag filled with Understable, MVP, and Axiom discs. So let's have a little fun out here. All right, so if you are a follower of the channel, you know very well that I am very much a noodle arm. I do not have a huge amount of arm speed, don't get a ton of distance. For me personally, like sort of my max distance is about 300 feet or so, and that's on like a pretty good throw. For a while, I was like, oh, I'm better than that. I can definitely throw a little further, and maybe sometimes I can if I get the right wind or if I get just like the perfect release. I am trying to like embrace that just a little bit more, and because of that, I'm trying to sort of update my bag to discs that I think actually fit my arm speed a little more, which means I'm taking out some of my more overstable and high speed drivers and I'm switching them over to just something just a tick more understable. Maybe not like crazy super understable roller discs for most people, but because of that, I now have a pretty good stack of discs in like the MVP family of discs. I definitely gravitate towards MVP's discs. I really like their plastics, the way that they feel. They're always pretty flat, nice shallow profiles that feel good in my hands. So because of that, we are going to be doing a just little fun 9-hole round here, not keeping score or anything, probably throwing multiples off the tee, because I just want to see which of these discs, you know, might actually be good fits in my bag. So real quick, we'll run through what we got here. There's some that will probably see a little more action than others, but we're not gonna go into too much detail. Let's see what we got. So I got two mid-ranges with me here. We have the Uplink here, 5.5, -3, 0.5. And then we also have the new OTB Open Proton Paradox here. This is a 5.4, -4.0, I believe, maybe 0.5, I don't know the fade, but super understable mid-range here. So those probably won't see too much action, but we have them just in case. All right, so moving on to fairway drivers here. We have the staple here, the Relay, 6.5, -2.1. This is 168 grams. This disc for me always seemed a little more overstable. I've had a couple relays in the past, and I definitely expected them to be a little bit flippier, but I never really get a lot of turn out of them. So we'll see. This is a newer run. If we do want something flippy though in that 6-speed slot, I have the Signal here, 6.5, -3.1. This is actually one of my older discs in the group here. This disc is very flippy. Okay, then we have here a couple 7-speeds. We have the Rhythm, which is a disc that I have not gotten to throw that much. This is a 7.5, -2.1. I have this in fission plastic. We're looking at 153 grams here. Really lightweight disc. Really excited to give this one a toss. Similar numbers though here. We also have the Drift from Streamline. This is the only Streamline disc that I have in the group. 7.5, -2.1 as well. So this is in Proton plastic. So it's pretty much, I think it's the same disc as the Rhythm. It's just the non-overmold version. Okay, moving on to 9 speeds. This is where I have a lot of discs to try out here. We got 4 different discs here, and they all are sort of like incrementally more and more understable. So first off, we have the Inertia here, 9.5, -2.2. For me, I've thrown this a few times. It feels sort of like my straight Undertaker. It goes nice and straight, it has just a tiny bit of turn, but not a lot. And then that 2 fade does pop up at the end. It will have a nice overstable finish for me still. So then next up we have the Insanity. MVP sort of describes this as being a beat-in Inertia right out of the box. We're looking at 9.5, -2, 1.5. So same turn, just a little bit less fade. Next up, another MVP disc. We have the Impulse here, 9.5, -3.1. So this disc I've been playing with a lot. This is one of the newest discs in my group here. And then the last 9-speed here we have is what Axiom describes as a beat-in Impulse, and that's the Virus here, 9.5, -3.51. So this is the most understable 9-speed of the group. All right, last up, we have 3 distance drivers here, all 11 speeds. We have the Wave, which is my tried and true. This is sort of, if I have a distance driver in the bag, it's gonna be the Wave. And the Wave numbers are 11.5, -2.52. This is in fission plastic, 167 grams. The main reason I brought the Wave though is to compare it to this disc here, which is the Axiom Vanish, 11.5, -3.2. So just a little bit more understable. We're looking at 166 grams. This is just in neutron plastic. Really excited to compare the Wave and the Vanish to each other. We'll see if I prefer one or the other, or do I like both of them? Really curious to find out. And the last disc we have is the Orbital, 11.5, -4 -1. This disc for me is very understable, even though it's an 11 speed. Obviously, -4 implies that as well. I really do like throwing the Orbital though, because I'm able to get nice, good distance hyzer flips out of it, or just really long turnovers. Really fun disc to throw. So we're gonna play 9 holes here at Chattahoochee Pointe. Let's have some fun out here. All right, we're gonna kick things off here at hole 2, 360 feet, par 4. Basket is straight ahead on a little hill here, wide open shot. I was thinking of going with some distance drivers on this hole, but actually I know we have some longer holes coming up later where we'll definitely be throwing those. So we're gonna start off with some of the 9 speeds here. We're gonna do the Inertia and the Insanity together. This I sort of pair in my head because MVP describes the Insanity as like a beat-in Inertia right out of the box. So we're gonna be going with both of these discs to the right of this tree in front of me here. Let them carry straight, have a little bit of fade at the end. So we're gonna just try to keep it nice and flat. Let's see how it goes. Starting with the Inertia first. Yeah, I put that on hyzer and it didn't really flip up much, if at all. It just sort of carried straight on the hyzer. Nice little fade at the end. Let's see what the Insanity does. Oh, I threw that way wider. Ooh, that definitely had a little bit more flip. I still put it on a lot of hyzer, but I saw a little bit more flip out of it. Oh man, it's been like 2 weeks since I've thrown a disc, so neither of these were amazing. The distance actually was pretty solid for me. I definitely wanted to keep them a little flatter though, to have a little bit more of a showcase. Obviously, if I put a lot of hyzer on all of these discs, they're just gonna stay hyzer and fade. They're not gonna look that different, but both the Insanity and the Inertia right next to each other. We have the Insanity here, Inertia just a hair closer here. Simon Line Pixel here. Simon was killing it on the putting green the other week at Music City Open, so we'll celebrate that with a little pixel throw as well. This is the only putter I brought with me. I don't have any approach discs or anything. Okay. Let's go. Hole 3, 280 feet, par 3. Got a wide gap to make it through. Basket off a little bit to the left. We're gonna be doing a 9-speed throw palooza here, where we're throwing all 4 of the 9 speeds that I have. Try to keep them nice and flat and see if we can actually see a little bit of flight difference out of each one. We're gonna start with the most overstable here, the Inertia, working our way to more and more understable discs. Ooh, that one cut left. All right, next up, we got the Insanity. Nice throw there. Nice little drift to the right. I think I put just a little bit of anhyzer on it, but it just sort of held that gentle fade at the end here. All right, impulse here. We should start seeing some turn now. That was a great throw. Just a little short, but it was a really good throw. Nice, just a little bit of drift there. Not a lot, but just a little bit of drift there. The virus here, we should see just a little bit more now. Oh yeah, perfect. Inertia short-armed it. It's the shortest of the group. But then we have over here, we got the Impulse as the closest to the basket here, you can see. And right here we have the Insanity and then the Virus. So all similar distances. Pretty good shots from all of these. Oh, the glide got me that time. Hole 4, 780 feet, par 5. First off the tee, we just got to make it through 2 initial gaps here. We're gonna be going distance drivers this time. We got the Wave, we got the Vanish, and we have the Orbitals. All right, so we're gonna start off with the Wave first here. Nice, pretty good throw there. Next up, we have the Vanish. Yeah, that's got a little bit more fight to it, but I think that's just because it's newer. It carried straight. I definitely put it way more inside than I wanted to. Now we have the Orbital. This one should be a good deal flippier. Oh my gosh, it's so much more understable. Oh, that's so much fun. All right, no surprise here. The Wave was the best throw of the group, but that's to be expected because I currently bag the Wave. I don't I expect to throw that one the best. But all three of these actually went about the same distance. Just we had the Vanish more off to the left, Orbital more off to the right. Here we go, shot 2. We're gonna go with the same discs off to the right here. This time I am gonna put the Orbital on a little hyzer to get a hyzer flip out of it. And yeah, we just wanna get past this tree off to the left so we have a nice, easy approach. So we'll start with the wave again. Oh, just into the trees. So next up, we got the Vanish. It's a better angle. Ooh, and a little bit further. Nice. All right, Orbital, last up. Putting hyzer on this one to try to get some flip out of it. That disc is crazy. I love that disc. Oh, that's a lot of distance. Hey yo, the wave actually was just past the trees, and it is, again, my best shot. The Vanish and the Orbital were both about the same distance, just a little bit wider because I threw them wider. We're gonna go with the understable mids here. I don't know about throwing either of these like full power because I think they're gonna be too flippy. So we're starting with the uplink here. Ooh, it's still short, but that was a great throw. Paradox. This is brand new. Just got this one in the mail yesterday too. OTB open. I threw that way too wide for that, but that was still pretty controllable actually. I'm pretty surprised. All right, so here's the Paradox in the basket here. You can see both the Paradox and the uplink, almost the same distance, but the uplink I just put on a much better angle. Oh, I thought I had it. It just faded at the end. Hole 7 is 255 feet, par 3. Have an initial gap to make it through, and the basket is basically straight ahead. We don't want something to fade too hard into the woods off to the left down there. We're gonna be going with the 6 and 7 speed drivers this time. So the relay, the signal, the drift, and the rhythm. Here we go, we're gonna start off with the relay. This and the rhythm are two discs that I've really been looking forward to trying out. Yeah, no flip at all. The relay is such a lie. There's like I've never had a relay flip for me. And just by comparison, so that's 6.5 negative 2.1. This is 6.5 negative 3.1 here with the signal. I'm gonna try to throw this nice and flat as well. That's gone. No fight. Way off to the right. It's crazy with that relay, how it doesn't flip. Let's go with the drift next here. 7.5 negative 2.1. Ooh, that's a really nice flight. Oh, that is parked. That's like a 10-foot, 15-foot putt there. Excellent throw. So I'm really curious, how does the rhythm compare? Does it have a little more flip? Is it exactly the same? This one is lighter though, 153 grams. So we'll see if we get a little more flip out of it. Oh, I yanked that. Oh, but it's turning. Oh, that's a great flight. Oh, I wish I didn't yank that. I'm gonna grab that one. We're gonna throw it one more time. All right, let's try the rhythm again. Try to get this one in frame the whole time because honestly, that was a great flight. Yeah, oh my God, look at that flight. That is so good. It's parked again. We're right under the basket there. I grabbed the relay again. We're giving it another shot. I'm gonna try to really put a move into it. We're gonna put it out to the right too. Yeah, just nice and straight. I mean, that's a good throw. That's a great, I mean, let me know down in the comments. I know a lot of people have thrown relays. I know it's a very popular disc. Let me know what you think. Is it actually just like a straight to overstable disc, especially if you have a low arm speed? I'm just so confused. I got the signal again as well. I wanted to actually showcase it a little bit better this time because I'm not gonna throw this. I threw that intentionally, like just flat and knowing what it was going to do. If I actually wanted to attack this basket, this actually wouldn't be a bad idea. We just have to put a good bit of hyzer on it. Look at how understable that is. I put so much hyzer on it. The signal was the shortest of the group. Relay actually I thought was much shorter, but it is actually, you know, only 15 feet from the basket, so not terrible. The drift and the rhythm, about the same distance. I actually thought the rhythm was closer. I thought we were literally under the basket. Hole 12, 385 feet, par 4. We got the basket well past the tree line here. Normally I go through this big right gap with something overstable to let it fade in, but we don't have anything overstable this time, so that's gonna be a bit tricky. So we're gonna use the distance drivers and just try to pump it down as far as we can. Just the wave and the Vanish though. I don't think the Orbital has any chance of really staying in the gap. I guess I could try to hyzer flip it, but no, we're just gonna go with the wave and the Vanish here. Nice and flat. Let's see how far we can get through the gap. A little high, might fade though. Nice. We're in the field. That's perfect. So the wave was actually a pretty good throw here, just a little bit high, but then the Vanish, you can see a good 15, 20 feet further. Really easy approach to the basket from there. Too much turn. Still a putt though. Hole 13, we're gonna play from the long tee here. It's 405 feet, par 3. Definitely not gonna be making it to the basket. That's well outside my range, but I really wanted to throw some more longer discs here. So we're going with the distance drivers again on a nice wide open shot here. Let's see how they fare. Starting with the wave. We're not gonna throw the Orbital. That one is just gonna be a roller. I'm trying to hammer these as hard as I can. Look at that nice natural little turn with the wave. That's a great throw. Almost a jump putt from there, but probably still 100 feet away. Let's see the Vanish. Can we get this to turn a little bit more? That's a great throw. Right up next to the wave there, let's go. All right, just like I thought. The wave and the Vanish, nearly identical throws. The wave just had a little bit more turn and fade. The Vanish actually had a really nice throw. It felt like I kept the nose down pretty good, and it just carried nice and straight. Just a little tiny bit of fade at the end as well. Nice. Oh, I left this a little short actually. I thought it was gonna be like a 5-foot putt. This is just a little outside. Should make it though. Ooh, right side there. Hole 15, about 230, 250 feet, somewhere around there. Basket off on the right side. Hopefully this is one of the pin positions they're changing back to the normal island, because I really despise this pin position, especially with the discs that I'm using here, understable discs. If I throw them too hard or if there's too much headwind, they're going to turn off into the road here, which I think is a poor design choice. Only one disc I trust in this situation, and that is going to be the relay. And we're parked. Let's go. I'm actually going to throw a couple more direct lines. We'll do the rhythm and the drift. We're not throwing the signal. That's definitely not happening. That'll definitely end up in the road. So we'll go with the drift first here. That one was way nose up. That's going to be way left. Good distance though. Let's get the rhythm close. Keep turning. Now drop and fade. Oh, that was so close. I love that rhythm. Oh man, the relay was a good throw already, and then the rhythm even closer. That's such a good disc. Honestly, that right now is the top contender for the disc that I most want in my bag. Hole 16, 210 feet, par 3, tunnel shot with the basket off on the right side here. A nice little opportunity to test out our understable mid-ranges here. Honestly, from this tee, I do normally throw like a detour, which is another disc I could have put in this group, but I've already done a full video on the detour. Actually, I think I did 2 videos on the detour. I'll have a little link in the corner for one of those videos, so if you want to see what the detour is like, you can check that video out. But yeah, we just need something to drift off a little bit to the right here, which is perfect for these 2 discs as long as we get the speed and angle control down so we don't turn them over too far. I think that'll be a lot easier with the uplink, and we'll see how we go. Keep turning. Ooh, that's great. That's a circle 1 for sure. That was a great throw with the uplink. That was perfect. Whew. Let's see, can we get another good throw with the Paradox? This one will have a little more turn. Maybe I'll give it a little hyzer. Turn. Too high. It was turning though. Just not enough airspace there. All right, so the uplink was a great shot, but it was so close to being a disaster. I almost hit those first couple early trees. It just turned just in time for a nice 10-foot putt here. Okay, hole 18, last hole of the day. We're gonna be playing from the long tee here. It's 675 feet par 4 then. You would think I'd go with my distance drivers here because I need to get as much distance as possible, but I picked the long tee here because I wanted to finish off doing 2 rounds of the 9-speed discs because I just wanted to give both of these a chance. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna throw 2 off the tee here. We're gonna throw the Inertia and then what is supposed to be a beat-in Inertia with the Insanity. We're gonna throw both of these off the tee, and then we're gonna take the Impulse and the Virus and throw both of those on the second shot from whatever one of these ends up the best. So we'll get a chance to sort of see how the 2 incremental changes. Again, the only difference between these 2 discs is the Insanity has a fade of 1.5, the Inertia has a fade of 2. That's the only difference between these 2 discs. Let's see how the Inertia and the Insanity compare one last time here. Oh, that's so lucky. That's in the fairway. I got around the stupid pine tree on the right side, which should never come into play. Is that even in frame? It is, thank God. Here we go, next up with the Insanity. It's a great throw. Nice. Pretty solid distance for a 9-speed disc there. Honestly, with 9 speeds, I find that I get just about the same distance with those as I do with some of my distance drivers. Let's actually do that real quick. We'll throw the Vanish one time here. Pretty similar, but that was a great throw with the Vanish there. All right, well, I accidentally picked up the Insanity. So we're throwing from the Vanish here. My best throw anyway. We're going with the Impulse and the Virus this time. We are throwing into a bit of a headwind actually. I didn't notice it off the tee. So I'm gonna put some hyzer on it, sort of aim straight at the pine tree in front of the basket, and hopefully we don't turn far over to the right. That'll be annoying. Impulse first here. That looks great. Very controllable. Nice hyzer flip. All right, last throw here. Virus. Oh, yep, there's the problem. Not enough hyzer. So yeah, the Virus is a good deal more understable than the Impulse. I will say I did put more hyzer and more control on the Impulse. Perfect. Easy tapping. Ooh, I am exhausted. The heat is coming in. Oh man. Good round though. A lot of fun. Really fun discs to try out. I'm gonna head back home and I'll give you my final thoughts and let you know which disc maybe you should consider bagging. All right, so full disclosure, it's been several months since I recorded all of that footage throwing these Understable MVP, Axiom, and Streamline discs. Honestly, I started getting a little burnt out on the whole disc golf content creation. Honestly, disc golf as a whole, I don't really play quite as much as I used to, maybe once every other week or so. Starting to pick it back up a little bit more, so hopefully we have some more content coming out in the near future. Probably not twice a week, if anything weekly or maybe every other week, but try to keep some videos coming out. But I really wanted to get this video finished up because I really did enjoy shooting this video. These MVP discs, especially these Understable ones, are a lot of fun to throw. There are quite a few from that video that I actually did put immediately into my bag. So let's try to run through these discs pretty quickly. There are a lot of discs to talk about, so I'll try to keep it as quick as possible. We're gonna start off here with the mid-ranges here. So we had the Uplink and the Paradox. The Uplink is a disc that is in my bag. It's been in my bag for a little bit. I find that it's very controllable. It's really easy to keep turned over for me, but at the same time, it's not gonna just turn into an immediate roller. Whereas with the Paradox for me, if I throw this full power, it's just gonna go way right. I have to put a ton of hyzer on it. However, if you are a beginner in disc golf, I highly recommend trying out a Paradox. It's really easy to throw, especially as you're just getting started. I know Lisa loves her Paradox. It's probably her favorite disc. But for me, I definitely prefer the Uplink in that understable mid-range slot. This is the most understable mid-range that I do bag. I actually like pairing the Uplink a lot with the MVP Detour from the James Conrad line of discs. The Detour is a 5.5 -2.1. Again, I didn't put it in this video. I do have several videos about the Detour though. I really love it. Finally, the stock release is out, so you can really easily get your hands on one now. I find that it actually complements quite well with the Uplink, especially for me with this Uplink in particular, because I've had this in the bag for a little while. It's definitely maybe a little more understable than say a brand new Uplink. If I need to have something that stays turned over, I'm gonna be throwing this. Something nice and straight, maybe just a little bit of turn, little hyzer flip, I'm gonna go with the Detour. So MVP's mid-range game is like one of my favorites. I've loved every mid-range that I've thrown from them. I used to bag the Matrix and the Pyro for overstable mids. The Hex is just a great all-around mid. I just love their mids, and right now I'm really enjoying having both the Detour and the Uplink in the bag. All right, so moving on to the 6 and 7 speed fairway drivers here. The relay, first and foremost, it's listed at 6.5 -2.1, but I have never had a relay that shows that amount of turn, a -2 turn. I always find the relay to just go nice and straight with a dependable fade, even into like a headwind or something. So like I mentioned before, if you guys have thrown relays before, let me know how does it fly for you, because I imagined that this was gonna fly like an Innova Leopard, but I was never able to get any amount of turn out of any of the relays that I've ever had. So not a disc that I particularly enjoy throwing, definitely not one that's in the bag. Just something that's always really bugged me about the relay, because then we have the Signal, which is 6.5 -3.1, and this just is a like super understable fairway driver, super easy to turn over. This is another disc that I actually think is really good for beginners. It was super easy to control, especially as I was just getting started in the game. Even just starting, I was able to get a nice little understable turn out of the Signal. So really a lot of fun for me now. It's a little bit hard to control. I had to put, again, a lot of hyzer on it, trying to start hyzer flips and stuff. This is a great option, I think. So the next two discs are 7 speeds, same numbers. We have the Drift and the Rhythm. Now the numbers are 7.5 -2.1. The Drift I found to just be like a nice overall straight thrower, just a little bit of turn, nothing too crazy. And actually it is very reminiscent of the first Rhythm that I had, which is actually in Neutron plastic here. And I was actually surprised. I was expecting the Rhythm to be a good deal more understable, again -2.1, similar to what I had with the relay. But while I was able to actually get some turn out of the Rhythm, it wasn't anything super crazy, which surprised me. But then we got this lightweight fission plastic Rhythm, and this disc is exactly what I had been looking for. It sort of flies in between that Neutron Rhythm and the Signal. It is easy to turn, and it can definitely stay turned over as well if I put enough power into it, but it is very controllable for my arm speed where it is now. And because of that, the Rhythm is another disc that had immediately made it into my bag. And like I said, it's been several months now. I have been loving throwing this. I actually just got back playing like 6 courses with Kang and Daniel up in Charlotte, and the Rhythm was a disc that I pulled out a lot. I loved throwing this in the woods. It was really nice and easy to get good hyzer flips if I needed to go straight, or if I had a lot of left to right turn, left to right movement with some of the shots. The Rhythm was one of my go-tos for that. So I have really been enjoying the Rhythm, especially in this fission plastic. All right, next up, we're gonna go through the 9 speeds, and honestly, these numbers seem pretty accurate. I will say one thing that I've noticed with MVP discs overall, the numbers for their understability rating, like the -2, -3, definitely seems a little bit, for my arm speed at least, a little off. It seems like a lot of these discs are just a little bit more stable than what I imagine them to be, and I've heard that is the case from several people online as well. They'll say that these MVP discs, if they have the same numbers as say like an Innova or Prodigy counterpart, the non-overmold will just be a little bit easier to flip and turn over. So that's something that I had noticed with all of these as well, but that doesn't mean I don't love these discs. So starting off with the Inertia, I had mentioned that this flies very similar to my slightly beaten Undertaker that I used to bag a lot, and that is definitely the truth. It's listed as 9.5 -2.2, and I am able to get just a little bit of flip out of it, but not a lot. For the most part, if I throw it flat, it just holds flat and stays straight for a good portion of the flight, but does have a dependable fade to the left. I did bag the Inertia for a little while, but I've taken it out and haven't really had it in for the past like 6 months or so. But I do enjoy throwing it, and I really love the way that this disc feels. If I were to bag something like that, though, I would definitely be opting for this Insanity, the 9.5, -2, 1.5, so just a little bit less fade. Again, for my arm speed, I don't really see a lot of turn out of it. I bet if I beat this disc in more, I would. And also you can get the Insanity in fission plastic as well, and it's actually listed as a 9.5, -2.5, 1.5 in that plastic, so you can definitely maybe get a little bit more understability out of it in fission plastic. But the Insanity, especially in this Neutron plastic, it just feels great. It's not a disc that's currently in my bag, but if I were to have a slot open for one, this would probably be the next disc that I would really highly consider adding in, because I really love the way the Insanity feels. It is nice and straight, again, just a little bit of turn, but the fade is just not quite as strong as with the Inertia, so it's not quite as overstable, and because of that, I'm usually able to get just a little bit more distance out of it. So this is a disc that I really have enjoyed. Definitely check it out if you're looking for like a nice straight 9-speed, and if you find that the Neutron Insanity is a little bit too overstable, give the Fission Insanity a try, see if you can get a little bit more turn out of it as well. All right, so going on to the Impulse and the Virus here. The Impulse is a disc that made it into my bag. It seems like it just has just the right amount of turn for me. This is why I actually don't bag the Insanity. This disc still is generally just a nice straight flyer for me, but I am able to get just a little bit of turn out of it. I can get a nice little hyzer flip out of it. Not if I put like a ton of hyzer. If I'm like maybe here, it's not gonna flip up to flat. But if I put just a little bit of hyzer, it'll flip up, maybe ride just a little bit to the right. I really have enjoyed the Impulse. It's really been a lot of fun throwing. It seems like it's just sort of the Goldilocks disc for me in these 9 speeds, because I also have thrown this Virus in the past, which is 9.5, -3.51, just a tick more understable in number. But this is just, for me, for some reason, definitely feels like it's a pretty big jump in understability from the Impulse. I find that this one is still a great disc, and it's definitely like less understable than, say, like the Heat, I believe, which has similar numbers from Discraft. I always found that this had a little bit more fight at the end of its flight than that. At this point, this one's pretty beaten. I did bag the Virus a lot, especially as I was just starting out. But for me right now, I think the Impulse is just like the perfect amount of understability, where it's really easy for me to control and I can really get some good distance with it. But at the same time, it's not going to just stay turned over. It will finish to the left still for me, so I'm able to get some nice S shots out of this. So really have been enjoying the Impulse. All right, and then last up we have the 11 speeds. The Wave, we'll start with that, has been in my bag pretty much since I bought this disc, and it's not leaving. The Wave is sort of like my bread and butter go-to distance driver. This one is particularly beaten in fission plastic, so it's decently understable, and it's really easy to hyzer flip, really easy to get a nice sweeping anhyzer out of as well. Really versatile for me. It still has a good bit of fade at the end. Not something I'm gonna trust into a headwind by any means or anything like that, but I do love throwing the Wave. Definitely one of my furthest flying discs, if not my furthest flying disc. I really enjoy throwing it. It's not going anywhere. But then we have the Orbital, which is more understable, and the Vanish, which is actually also listed as being more understable, but I find that the Vanish, just because this is in Neutron plastic and it's definitely a newer disc, it actually has just a little bit more stability than the Wave. But as you saw in the videos, I was getting some really great distance with this, even outperforming the Wave on several shots. So this is a disc that sort of has been in and out of my bag here and there. I've actually been using this as just sort of a slightly more overstable Wave, so maybe if it's a little bit windier, I will actually pick the Vanish over the Wave to throw a similar shot. Or if I just want to have something that goes nice and straight, maybe just a little bit of baby turn to the right, I was actually picking the Vanish up, and I was really getting some good distance. Right now, it's not in the bag. I find that I'm just able to use either the Wave, or I do still have that X3 from Prodigy, a lightweight X3 in the bag that I've used in that more overstable slot. But the Vanish is a disc that I really do enjoy, and it's another one that's sort of like borderline where I really want to fit this in the bag. I just don't have the space for it right now, but there's a very good chance in the future that this will go back in the bag. And the Orbital is a disc that I do have in the bag, because I find that this is a really nice disc, like a really nice distance driver to throw if I need something to really pan over to the right, but I still want to get a lot of good distance. I'm going to throw the Orbital nice and flat and trust that it's going to flip and turn over and just sort of hold the turn for most of its flight, and at the very end start panning out. It doesn't really fade back to the left for me often. It usually just pans out nice and straight. I've really been enjoying the Orbital. Another good, it's also really good for easy distance hyzer flips as well, just with that understability. But because it's an 11-speed driver, it doesn't really flip over and burn out for me because I just don't have the arm speed really to do that. But yeah, that is going to be it for this episode, guys. I know that was a lot of discs to talk about in one video, but let me know down in the comments what MVP Axiom Streamline discs have you really been enjoying lately, especially if they've been on the more understable side. I feel like I've tried most of them, but if you feel like there's some that I might want to check out, definitely let me know down in the comments below. That is going to be it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't, I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to the channel. If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and ring that notification bell so you can be notified when our next episode comes out. Until next time, guys, cheers.